happy to have you all on this webinar. We've been having some technical difficulties, but today we're doing a live video call with Jon Malach, the founder. I don't know if I pronounced that right.
It's okay. It's Malach, John.
What? Malach?
That's right.
Okay. The founder of NativeAds.com. And here, show your screen again, or face again, just so they see who you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So, yeah, we're doing a call with Jon, and what we'll be going over is everything about how to run native advertising and scale your campaigns to $25,000 a day, $25,000 in spend a day or more. So, Jon runs a native ad network, and this is actually a really exciting call because this is the first ever call or webinar with, I think, Affiliate Network doing a call with an ad network, figuring out how we can work better together. So you guys are going to be getting a lot of awesome info on this webinar. He's going to be going over, I already saw what he's been going to be going over. It's insane. He's going over what times to submit your ads, what to bid, how much you should be bidding, what headlines work best. It's absolutely phenomenal information, literally from the mouth of the horse, because you run the show. You have a lot of people working with you. So without further ado, I've personally made six figures running advertising with Jon's network, and I'm really excited to present this ad network to you guys. And yeah, happy to have you on.
Hey, Jon, it was absolutely awesome to meet you at the Ads for Dough conference down there in San Diego. I'm really glad we had the chat that we did. And this is exactly the kind of collaboration that this industry needs to have more of.
Yeah, I
think we can all agree that there is an unnecessary division at times between the affiliates that are, funding the existence of all of the content that we have the luxury of consuming, the publishers that are producing the content and generating the revenue from affiliates that are sending traffic, buying traffic, and then we have these ad networks like myself in the middle. At times we do a really good job to be the glue that pulls everything together, and in other times we're an unnecessary obstacle, either because we fail to communicate or are unwilling to communicate.
Yep.
And that's something I just want to put an end to. I want to bring everybody behind the scenes, help them understand exactly what it is that we look for, our partners look for, and make it easy for us to grow and collaborate together moving forward. So Jon, thanks for having the vision to put this session today together.
Dude, thank you for thanks for hopping on this. As I think we've both talked about, just it's you're right. It's a super fragmented industry right now. All industries, as time goes on, consolidate. They collaborate, they consolidate, and the big players take the people who are the most forward-minded, the most collaborative, and personally, I believe taking over the space, whereas the rest of people, and affiliate marketing is so fragmented right now. I think this is exactly what it takes to both get people successful and take things to the next level. So yeah, cool. I'm happy we're on the same mind length. So you just brought up the slides. I see. Tell me a little bit about you're going to give a little overview of what it is you guys do, NativeAds.com. Now, I just want to make clear for people that aren't fully familiar with native advertising yet, because some of my people are, not familiar with it. Native advertising is, I'm just going to throw my screen up here. It's basically ads that look like recommended stories. So lots of ads. I'm just on this website right here called The Blaze. It's a very popular news story where it says other must-read stories, or where it has, these are other popular stories, other must-read stories. Lots of these recommended stories are actually ads. So these are a lot of these, The Wire, all these are ads. So they don't look like stories, and that's why they're considered native. So just so people understand. So yeah, tell me a little bit about what native ads is and all that stuff.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's kick it off. And I appreciate, again, the exposure to such a great group of people that are working with you. If any of you wanted to keep up with our updates, I've just got our handles. They're at native_ads on Twitter.
Cool.
And I had to start a brand new Twitter handle. It's fresh. It's a virgin, so feel free to follow me there. I try to post good stuff as well.
Cool.
So let's get into a network overview about who we are and where we stand in the industry. First thing I want everyone to understand is our story. We started out as affiliates ourselves. We were also in the content arbitrage game. We had a couple really high traffic blogs where we were buying traffic to them, having people go through several page views, multi-part articles, galleries, and in some cases we had some direct offers at the end of those slideshows.
Yep.
And we were buying traffic from every native ad network you can imagine. And while I can't say anything bad about them, I can say that we were spending a lot of time on things that were not making us money. We were processing spreadsheets, dealing with account managers, uploading ads one by one, and late nights and early mornings that could have been spent doing better things with our time. So we decided that we were going to build a native advertising platform that would sit on top of everything. In addition to having our own direct publishers, we've built 17 different proprietary ad units, and we've deployed them across a large publisher base of our own. So here you can see this diagram. Our native advertising platform is codenamed Titan. It sits on top of RevContent, Outbrain, Yahoo Gemini, and NativeAds, our publishers. And we're also rocking out with Rhythm One, Powerlinks, shouts out to Kevin, Zito, and AirPush, shouts out to everybody there. With these three networks on deck, Facebook, Content.ad, and MGID, all great groups. They all serve different purposes. So you are literally getting access to all this traffic from one single interface, and that's really the main value prop in addition to the features, which I'm going to quickly run through.
So can you go back to that slide real quick?
Absolutely.
So one thing is, what are the general deposits for each of these ad networks? Is just to get started. I know one thing I tell people is put tons of advertise everywhere. But some people getting started, they don't have $1,000 to throw on each of these. What the general deposits for most ad networks? What is it, like $1,000 or so?
Yeah, to get anything meaningful from them, that's about right.
Okay.
In some cases, you can have a minimum deposit of $500, but to put it plainly, you can get started with us for just a few $100s to test the waters. I recommend $1,000 because that'll let you optimize and scale somewhat. And it's just one deposit that hits all of them. We've got a enterprise alpha partner account with all of these, so we get access to features before they even go into beta. And in addition to that, we have the capability to aggregate the budgets of all of our advertisers and our affiliates into one single account on the backside. So if someone only has $10 a day to be allocated, for example, to RevContent, which is $100 a day minimum per campaign, we're still able to get you some of that traffic because of how kind these networks have been to put together the partnership with us. So that's a great point that you make as far as making it economical to get started and try several different traffic sources without the headache or the investment.
Cool. I'm just posting the slides up again. Okay, so awesome. Yeah, and I would highly recommend, if anybody's serious about this stuff, at least $1,000. But I think a big benefit is just having everything in one place. All of these networks are really powerful, ad networks in and of themselves. But being able to really take all that inventory in one place, personally, I rather have like one dashboard to rule them all and do everything. I mean, I think that's just another powerful facet of what you guys are doing. I love it. I love, so obviously I've spent a lot of money with you guys.
Thank you.
But made a lot of return. So let's go on. Sorry.
All right. So I'm going to try my best to make this just informative, actionable information.
Okay.
If it sounds like it's a sales pitch, I apologize. I'm just excited
just sell yourself. You guys have a great ad network, so I love it. I use it, and it's fantastic. This is our bread and butter.
Excellent. So here's some examples of things that we've built into our platform that you cannot do if you log in directly. One of the items is bulk ad uploading. This is a cool feature. There are softwares out there that do this. What we're excited about is that you will be utilizing our enterprise ad accounts along with this uploader, which separates us from some of the other services that do this. The short version of it is you can select a bunch of images, type a bunch of headlines. In one swoop, 10 ad headlines and 10 ad images becomes 100 variations, and the more variations, typically the better. Another massive feature is day parting. I don't think I've seen another network, with the exception of like Google and Facebook, that let you day part, and you know, it's kind of a closed native platform in that sense. So having an open native platform that serves across the web on all the high value sites, all of the blogs, all of the massive publishers, that allows you to plan out when you want to be on and when you want to be off, currently is a differentiator. Then just down here where we say running starts, what I mean by that is, you know, I got to give a shout out to RevContent. They are doing such a good job to be transparent and give us widget IDs of high converting traffic sources, blacklists of widget IDs that are not necessarily good for one type of campaign. It might be better for another. And because they're sharing that information, and we are getting that information also from Outbrain and Yahoo, through different methodologies, we're able to help you start out of the gates pre-optimized. We pre-block the categories, we pre-block the publishers if you give us a sense of what it is you're trying to do. So basically, if you communicate with us, we will be able to get you out of the blocks, probably 40 to 50% optimized, saving you time, saving you money, saving us both headaches, writing back and forth on Skype about why something's not converting.
That's fucking awesome.
It's huge, man.
What's the dude? What's the minimum deposit to work with you guys on an enterprise level?
So if you wanted to get started, you can drop in just $200 right now. It's ridiculous to even ask for that little money, but we are trying to make this accessible to everybody. And we're also going to be working on some special bonus codes that we can put in the comments of this post, so that we can give a little extra love to your clan. Absolutely. You can't really clone a campaign in some of these platforms like Outbrain, and it's not a knock on them, but it's something that is nice to be able to do. So we built that feature in so that you can clone those campaigns in our system. And then as far as testing budgets go, you can set campaigns for a CPA as low as $50 a day. If you try to do that in other platforms, you're looking at $100 a day. So for half the amount of money, you can get a campaign running. Set it up with the right blacklist that you want to run with, the right geo strategy, all of the targeting features you'd like. Run it at $50 and be comforted to know that it's running across several networks, rather than being in a scenario where if you wanted to do 3 campaigns a day directly, you might be looking at 300 a day or 600 a day as your minimum daily budget. And that might not be a good feeling heading into a weekend if you don't want to watch the spreadsheets. It might feel better to know you're only going to blow through $50 if you're still in a learn phase. So that's huge to me. Last little section here is our page view and CPA optimizer. There are networks that have a CPA optimizer. They have varying levels of success, but what we're most excited about is definitely our page view optimizer. If you are running a campaign that has a mix of ads that you earn on impression as well as a CPA, this is a great way to have that 3 or 4 pager where you can say, I want a minimum of 4 page views per visit or 7 page views per visit, and it optimizes against the ads and the traffic to ensure that you're hitting that goal. On the flip side, good old traditional conversion optimization, you throw the pixel up, it does its business. What's unique about this though is that we're optimizing traffic across several networks concurrently. So you might start out 25% Yahoo, 50% RevContent, 25% Outbrain. You might start out 40% NativeAds, 40% Outbrain, 20% RevContent. There's all these different mixes that we'll start you with. But once that CPA optimizer starts to do its thing, it starts to pull the best of the best from all of the networks, giving you essentially the dream team or the SWAT team of traffic sources across everything out there. In some cases, you might even be getting the traffic from the same site across 2 different places, across 2 different networks. But because of the way it's optimizing, it starts to crush it on the conversion. So I absolutely recommend you place the pixel when you work with us. So,
dude, this is amazing, by the way. You guys have, I mean, the custom, even like the white lists and the black lists are just, I talk to my audience about them a lot, and they're so essential to making, I think, native advertising work. And the fact that you guys are starting people further along is like, it saves people so many thousands of dollars, and the other ad networks are not really working with people on that. They're not really doing it. So, I mean, that's I think massive for any sort of company looking to get started with native advertising. So, dude, like, hats off to you. That's awesome.
Well, I certainly appreciate that, and that's actually a great segue into this point here. I'm going to work backwards. At the bottom of this slide, I'm saying that if you would like to have more than one account with us, as long as your business practice is sound and we can vet that, it is absolutely fine to have username 1 and username 2 to support the ability for more advanced publisher blocking scenarios. If you're familiar with the native advertising game, per account you can only block a certain amount of publisher widgets or publisher IDs. That kind of sucks, and I get it, because they don't want you to reverse whitelist, but you might have a certain scenario where you have 2 separate offers that need to block 2 completely different segments of publishers, and because your publisher blocking is account wide, you end up blocking publishers that are great for offer A but not good for offer A but great for offer B. So we just try to give you an ability to segment all of your efforts into individual user counts as needed, as long as it's not, abusive, and you're not, hey, I'm going to have 100 accounts. No, we're not going to do that kind of thing. But if you needed 2 or 3 accounts, it's not an issue. Working my way up the slide, I just want to communicate really clearly to everybody, we're not a competitor to any of the logos that you saw earlier in this presentation. We're not an or solution. We see ourselves as an additional solution to what you're already doing. And a lot of our most successful guys are still using their direct accounts, but using us on top of it, simply because they want to double and triple down on what's working. I might argue that we're a really good destination for your experimenting to get things rolling, and then you might want to roll it out to your direct accounts. But yeah, make it clear, we are here to play in addition to what you're already doing, not a substitution. Does that make sense, John?
Yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah, I totally understand that.
Awesome. So we have more traffic than we know what to do with. We're obviously aggregating across all of these premium networks, but just to give you a sense of the breakdown, we're seeing the lion's share is in mobile right now. Desktop is making a comeback. I think by the time we look at these numbers this time next month, we'll see desktop back up in the 40s and mobile down to the high 50s.
I think it's a pretty good makeup, like 40-60 is generally a pretty average makeup of traffic in general these days, though. I'm not sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm. That's from what I've seen, at least.
Absolutely. Most people like to ask me, in the first time I speak with them, hey, what can I spend on your network? Once you have your campaign optimized, it is not difficult to reach $10,000 a day, be profitable, and see exciting results. If you are willing to put in the work, and you're willing to collaborate, and most importantly, you're willing to communicate transparently with us and let us know what you're really trying to achieve, our account managers can get you up to a fully scaled scenario of 22 to 25,000 a day.
Yep.
Yes, we have had guys far above that, but I think it would be misleading for me to put those numbers in front of you and wave that carrot if you're a massive affiliate. But it is not difficult to spend 10 grand a day, and if you're willing to put in the time to work with us so that we can figure out how to really optimize it and fully scale it, we'll get you to that magical $25,000 a day number.
Yeah, and I can definitely vet for that. I think another. For lots of affiliates out there, just obviously keep in mind, your ROI is what you make of it. Most affiliates I know running Nutra are generally doing at least between 50 and 100% ROI. Other affiliates stagger between 30 to 50% ROI. So, lots of obviously you can earn a nice income. Yeah. Just focusing on native. So I don't think anybody argues that point, but yeah, it's cool. So cool.
Awesome. So I just want to do my absolute best to treat each and every person that is watching this recording right now as if they have made the trip out to beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. They're sitting in my office. I've just poured you a beautiful glass of whatever your favorite drink is. And we're going to sit down and we're going to go through all the things I wish I could tell you in person as to have the most success getting up and running and avoiding the pitfalls that can happen with optimizing campaigns. So let's get into it. First thing is you have to bid up to bid down. To get to your target bids, you have to be willing to bid higher than normal. I don't think that this is a mystery to anybody. I don't think this is anything new, but I do get a lot of phone calls from people saying, hey, I'm trying to buy at X cents and I'm not getting any traffic. And I'm telling them, listen, man, the predictive algorithm has no idea what type of CTR you're going to have. Everybody needs to understand in this industry that publishers get paid in CPM, and they are typically given guarantees. If I'm Outbrain and I'm talking to Time Inc., I can't give them a rev share contract. I have to guarantee them a flat CPM, which means as the ad network, you're taking a huge fucking risk because you don't know what the CTR is going to be against that particular ad creative. And if the CPC, for example, is only X cents, well, if that CTR is not high enough, that publisher is expecting a CPM that the ad network is not making money on. So you have to bid high enough that this predictive algorithm is going to say, yo, this CPC is going to make bank for my publishers. My publishers will be safe. They'll be happy to run this. And after it start to get traffic, that's when you can start to bring it down until the point where it's queued in. So just in this little diagram here, I think you need to start at a minimum of 50% above your comfort rate. So 1.5 to 2.5x. If you're down to just get things going and speed up the process, bid 2.5 times more than you need to for just one day and then bring it down. Now, the reason why I've got 1.2 to 1.4 of your actual preferred bid here is this is the make or break. What I mean by that is if you come down to 1.4x and the traffic starts to fall off a cliff, abort mission, start again. Just start the campaign all over again. People start to think that they can, fix a campaign while it's in mid-process. Well, I'll just bid up again with this campaign and get it delivering again. It just doesn't work that way. Think of it as a pizza. You put it in the oven, you forgot a particular topping. You can't pull the pizza out, put a topping on it while it's cooking and put it back in and try to fix it. Just fucking start over again and fix it from the beginning. What this is going to do is it's going to restart the algorithm. It's going to attribute a new campaign ID to what you're doing. All of the ads are going to look brand new, and it's going to give it a fresh start. Wherever the traffic fell off last time, you need to know that you just simply have to disable the ads that have the lowest CTR before you bring it down to that bid level where it fell off last time and see if you can get down again. It's a constant game of bid up, then bid down. So please give that a shot. And if you're not familiar with how it works, our account managers will definitely school you.
Cool.
Throttling. This is one of the most frustrating things. Man, I got everything loaded up. My CTR is looking good. Life is good, but I'm not getting any traffic. And then I look at the guy's setup and his daily budget on his campaign is $100 or his account balance is $750. So think about it. We're buying traffic simultaneously from 4 different massive networks plus more that are being added in. And while we're doing that, we have to check stats through APIs every 15 minutes to make sure we're not over serving. If you're only giving us $100 to work with per day at a campaign that's ready to scale, I'm not talking getting out of the gates, I'm talking when you're ready to scale up. If you've got a $100 budget per day on 10 campaigns and your budget's only $750, well, shit, if we go over on any of those, or if we even deliver the traffic you've asked for, we've already overspent on your balance. So we have this thing that puts the brakes on, the throttler, and it starts to slow you down at about 60%. And as soon as it does that, it's going to prioritize other guys that might be buying the same kind of traffic. So if you want to make sure that you don't get throttled, try to have a budget of no less than $200 per day on campaigns that are doing well. I suggest you go bigger, but if that's your budget, it's better to have that one campaign with $200 rather than having 2 separate ones at $100 if you're trying to avoid throttling. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Awesome. One of the things I think is important is to always look over and cheat off other people's papers. One of the guys, we all did it. I mean, come on. It's, what do they say? Good artists copy, great artists steal. I forget who it was that said that quote. That's what we're doing here. So I love everybody that's on this page. All these guys that have built these companies are stellar at what they do. I think it's a matter of preference and also a matter of your budget. There's some that are more expensive on this page than others, but try these tools out and see what the other guys are doing, and then see if you can repurpose some of that methodology into what you're doing. If someone is spending $100,000 a day on a particular campaign, chances are it's because it's working. So you might as well take advantage of that guy's lessons learned and the money he spent to get to that point.
Dude, totally. Elon Musk talks a lot about the importance of reverse engineering everything. I'm a big fan of Elon Musk, and really he said the way he does business is he looks at, he does it on another level, but he actually will he'll go in as deep as possible to businesses, to fly to, he went over to Russia to inspect all of their rockets, and he steals employees. He'll just take the best employees from NASA, best employees from other space programs or companies, and he'll just literally just take them, suck all their knowledge, and make them, and it's the same exact thing as affiliate marketing. So those spy tools, anybody watching this, if you're seriously considering native advertising, dude, check out that stuff, or you can even find, just inspecting other people's ads, browsing the internet. Fantastic.
Such a good point.
It's been a big part of my success.
I'm going to go and check out previous webinars because I'm sure you talk about that. So huge part of the game, 100%. And one more time, Papertrail, AdBeat, Native Ad Buzz, and AdVault. Those are the 4 that I recommend. Find out which one you like the most. I'm sure
What's
John
your
also
personal favorite one?
We use AdBeat very intensively at our office, and I have to say the personality behind the guys in the UK behind Native Ad Buzz, if you're on their newsletter, these guys, they just make it more enjoyable to do the day-to-day. So we subscribe to both of those intensively. I met Papertrail and in San Diego, really good group. I can't say I've used their software intensively, although I know my account managers do. And AdVault, I've just heard nothing but good things, so I'm passing along the love.
Cool.
Awesome. So I want to talk to you a little bit about understanding how the game works as far as getting traffic for either the same rate at scale or for a little bit cheaper than you'd normally buy it. So the way these algorithms work is they're all built around the concept of we have to make this company the most amount of money as possible because we all have investors to answer to. So when you load up a campaign and it comes into our system, which then sends it over to the other networks or puts it live with our publishers, there's a little setting in the back end that you never see called pacing. And there's even pacing, there's ASAP pacing, there's different ways that we are able to pace the traffic that is delivered to you. ASAP is the default. Now what ends up happening is in the beginning of the day, everybody's budgets are competing like hell. And usually by around 4 o'clock, not too different from right now. What time is it right now? About right now, 3:40, heading into 4 o'clock. Yeah, right now we're going to start to see budgets start to cap out for the day, and then it becomes much less competitive for the traffic. So you have to think about your offer. If your offer is congruent with people when they are, winding down for the day, or they've gotten home and they've already finished dinner, or worse, they're looking at their phone while they're eating with their family, whatever it is that you're selling or promoting, if it works in the evening, you can bid as little as 80% as what you normally would bid and get the same amount of traffic. So when we have that day parting feature in our system, a lot of people will put in one bid from midnight through to 4 p.m. and they'll have another bid from 4 p.m. onwards. Some people don't care and they just run all day. Some people have 2 different campaigns going with different CPCs, knowing that one of them's going to be dormant till 4 o'clock. But you got to try this stuff, guys. These are the little tweaks that add that extra 5 to 10%. It's massive, man. Absolutely massive. So give that a shot. Day part, or have 2 campaigns with different bids and just know that one of them's going to cap out and one of them's not going to deliver until the evening.
Cool.
got to shout out Jason Akatif. He was the one that sent this book to us, and pages 32 through 39 are pretty awesome. I am not a really good copywriter, but I can pretend to be one. And it's just through reading and learning what are the elements of a killer headline and what are the things that people are psychologically afraid of and attracted to. And I'm sure, John, I know you're a guy that's a humanitarian, a philanthropist, and you look at these things. When I talk to you, I sense that you look at people and you evaluate what is it that gets them going. We've got to always think about who is that target audience, who is that person who is going to buy this product, and what is it that they're afraid of missing out on, what is it that they're trying to be attached to, what is it that they're afraid of, what is it that's their deep desire that they don't want to tell anyone. Your headline has to incorporate the psychology. You got to put on that hat and bring that element into what you do.
That's awesome.
So check that out.
I have not read that book, but I've heard of Ray Edwards, and really anything Jason recommends, or I basically do. So that's awesome. Good book.
Right on. Okay, so I'm going to segment into a slightly different component of going over the information I really want to share with you, which is understanding some things that are specific to my partners.
Okay.
I'm going to talk mainly about Outbrain and RevContent. Our partnership with Yahoo Gemini is relatively new, and I want to get a little bit more information about how things are working before I present that. So maybe we'll do a follow-up on that another time.
Yeah, definitely. Especially
awesome.
when all the technical things are worked out.
Absolutely. There you go. So when it comes down to these next few slides, these are either things we're doing for you in the background automatically with our technology, or we advise you on your setup. But the thing that I think is important, I talked a lot about collaboration in the beginning of our chat today, and I encourage you, if you're already using these systems directly, use these tips anyway. You don't have to use them with me. No one's going to twist your arm. So hopefully this is helpful regardless of what platform you're logging into.
Okay.
So here's what we're going to talk about really quickly. Understanding periods of spend and budgets, the variations of ads, metadata, understanding what a premium network really means, and when to submit your campaigns. So here's an interesting thing. There's these two guys in Israel who built the Outbrain algorithm, and I had the liberty of talking to them for a couple hours one day. And on that call,
that's gnarly stuff.
Yeah, their names are Ziv and Yonatan, and these guys are beasts when it comes to AI and data and all kinds of crazy stuff that is above our pay grades. And what they taught me was that it is difficult for the algorithm not to throttle you when you're on a daily budget. If you put in $100 a day, it is actually going to be more difficult to hit your spend goal versus putting in $700 a week. And if you think about it, the computers or this service, this utility that they've scripted, it's got more play. With $700, it's less worried about overspending. So it's just going to start doing its thing and try to optimize between that 7-day period. Same thing if you go monthly. So this is a lot different than you're telling it has 24 hours to find the traffic, make sure it's not underpaying the publishers with low CTR that's being served, and get you the traffic all without overspending. That's a lot to ask this system to do, considering how many users are logging in per day and how much competition there is for the same traffic. So if you're using it directly, stretch out your budget to a weekly and just do the math, or monthly if you have, the patience. On my end, I'm doing this shit for you automatically. If you give me a $50 a day budget, I'm putting it in as $350 a week. That's just what we're doing. It's working really well for us. This is how we're able to get your spend up.
Interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to go next, and I'm going to talk about ad variations. More is more. 10 ads per campaign tends to be the sweet spot. We used to bust through 100 on every campaign, and then we destroyed their review team. They had way too many ads to review. Think about it, if I load up 1,000 campaigns a day with 100 ads, that's a lot of work for them to review. Even though there are ways to bulk review, it was still starting to slow things down. Okay. So I've doctored this slide to say, I think 10 ads per campaign right now with Outbrain is the best. It'll go live quicker, and you can always layer on more and build it up to 30 or 40 once the campaign's been running. The key thing I'm trying to communicate, though, is if you put up 3 or 5 ad variations and none of those suckers get any CTR, you're not going to get in there. It's just going to sit there and die, and the campaign will be algoed out or algorithmed out. So
why too little? What is? I'm just trying to understand why is less than 10 ads bad?
Okay, so let's say we load up 5. We load up 5 ads and we have a CPC bid of, let's say, 30 cents. I'm just going to pick some random numbers. So now this is trying to find traffic in the verticals, knowing that it has a CPC of 30 to work with, and it's not sure what the CTR is going to be on these ads. Now, if you have 5, the algorithm, and I don't know the exact number, but it has a minimum try rate of usually 20 to 40% is the number of ads it'll definitely try serving. If you put a campaign live, chances are after 3 days you'll take a look at it, and there's some ads that haven't even been trafficked at all, and some that have got like crazy volume. And that's very common across all the networks. It doesn't run around robin. It tries them in order of ID number. And if it strikes out after 20 to 40% of your ad creatives, it stops trying. So if you load up 5 ads, 1 or 2 of them are going to go. And if both of them have shitty CTR, you're out of the game. If you double that, you got a chance that now 4 or 5 of them are going to go. So it's just basic math. It's giving yourself double the opportunity to have an ad that hits a decent CTR, which is basically the green light to start to scale the traffic to your campaign, because now it knows, hey, this guy's got a 1.5% CTR or whatever the number is that works with your CPC. My publisher over at Time Inc. is getting the CPM I guaranteed him. We're good to go.
Nice.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
And if you're not the creative type, just change 1 word in your headlines or the order of the words. Just do whatever you have to, but for the love of anything you believe in, have some variation in your campaigns. Okay, metadata is massive with Outbrain. If you have a really basic lander that's got not a lot of content on it, and the content isn't giving some contextual relevance, and if there's no metadata in the tagging of the page, it's unable to find relevant content to match it up with.
Interesting.
If you notice with Outbrain, you don't target by IAB content categories in there, bro. There's no way to say I want finance traffic, or I want sports traffic, or I want entertainment traffic. You just put the campaign live and target the device in the country.
Yeah.
The reason why is because they don't want you to think about what content you're gonna, or what category it's gonna work the best with. They're gonna scrape your metadata and your content, and they're going to do the figuring out for you. It's good for the most part. It can be shitty in sometimes, but the point is, if you don't have a lot of metadata, you're not going to have a lot of traffic. So make sure you're doing your part to structure the pages correctly and pop that up. In addition to that, you got to have relevant editorial content on your lander. This lander we see on the left isn't going to get shit for traffic on Outbrain. It might not even be approved because there's not really any content. The lander on the right looks like an article, right? That's going to get traffic. So that's the hustle that you have to learn to adapt your landers to, almost like a 2-click system on the right-hand side for Outbrain.
Now a question is kind of what, are there any particular parts of metadata that are really particularly important in, for you guys? I know there's like, meta name, meta tag. I don't know. Are there any particular? Do you want me to read a couple off to see if any spark?
I actually have a table with weighting that I will share in the comments once we get this up. Yeah, this was something that I had to go through about 4 different reps to get the answers, but I've put it all together, and I should have had it in a slide, damn it. We will put that up. I'll get it on Dropbox, and I'll throw the link up in the comments.
Dude, that'd be awesome.
You got it, man. All right, so moving along, let's talk a little bit here about premium still gets you viral. Again, this is not a negative knock. This is just a clear observation that we've experienced. So we contact our reps there. We tell them advertiser 123 with campaign ID ABC wants premium traffic only. Look at their bid. It's a premium bid. Look at the content. It's a premium offer. This is not some bullshit. Give us the best stuff you got. And they say, okay. And then you get frickin' slammed with answers.com traffic, or you get slammed with like TMZ traffic. And it's not that they're bad sites, but they're not exactly what you're looking for. So what I'm trying to say is regardless if you're working with me or you're working with them directly, when you request premium traffic, you still need to take a look at the campaign once it goes live, and like a hawk, be ready to block those 1 or 2 viral domains that will always sneak in. There's always going to be 1 or 2 of them that come in, and once you get rid of them, all the good stuff starts to come in after.
Yep. Okay. Very interesting.
Awesome. Campaign submission times. This is like one of the most demotivating things on the planet, is when you work your butt off to set up your page and get your campaigns together. You figure out your UTM tagging strategy. You go through all the pain in the ass of uploading everything, and you're ready to go, and you hit submit, and you're expecting results in a couple hours, and then like 3 days goes by and nothing happens, and you wonder why. It's because there's human beings on the other side of it, and they have to review these things. So here's what I've learned. The later part of the morning is always the best part of the day. And when I say morning, I mean Pacific Standard Time. If you're on the East Coast, you can do a little bit earlier. But usually around 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time tends to be the sweet spot. Any earlier than that, and you're dealing with the backup of all the guys that have been loading up campaigns in different time zones, or they've been loading them up first thing in the morning, or they're night owls like me and they load their shit up at midnight. There's a mad traffic jam every morning, and if you submit your campaign right in the middle of that, you can get jammed up. It's kind of weird. I don't know if there's like a shift change or something that's going on, but if you wait a little bit longer until the mid-morning, it tends to go live much quicker.
Interesting.
If you go too late, after 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Outbrain closes their doors at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the dot. They've got some gangsters that work later who are awesome, but their general review time doesn't work past that. So it's really important to get it in at least before 1 o'clock. Otherwise, you will be waiting till tomorrow, and you'll hit that same traffic jam. Submitting over the weekend is death. You will be waiting until Tuesday minimum. So don't submit shit on Saturdays and Sundays. Just wait until the next business day or get it in on the Friday. And that's campaign submission times. Interesting how it works that way, but definitely take that into note.
Yeah.
All right, let's shift gears. And for those of you that are watching that are thinking how much longer is this going to go, I'd say we're at the 80% marker. Stay tuned.
By the way, sorry not to interrupt, but for everyone watching this, I just want to say, dude, like, this is amazing content, dude. Like, this is, like, thank you so much, John. Thank you so much for going over this stuff. This is extremely helpful. I'm sure people are sucking this up, and yeah, thanks for putting together such clear, concise bullet points on how to do everything here. It's awesome. So, guys, just leave a message in the comments right now about how awesome this is. Type in this is awesome or something along those lines if you guys are enjoying this. So, yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, John, but let's keep going.
Thank you for the love, man. And I'm jealous that food looks good. I'm not sure what that is. All right, so let's talk about the ads per campaign. RevContent, I have had the best results submitting 5 ads per campaign. Their technology works differently, and I do find that you will get some traffic to each one of your ads, and they do review the ads slightly differently than Outbrain does. So 5 ads per campaign tends to be the sweet spot. Some of you may find that you can submit more and have the same review process time go through, but when you're dealing with our group, I recommend 5 variations per campaign. Cool. When you're dealing with RevContent directly, if you spend money, ask and you shall receive. We work with a girl there named Brittany. She is absolutely awesome. She hooks up all kinds of additional insights because we spend a lot of money. And basically, the same way I talked about in the beginning, how we have widget blacklists and whitelists that we save per vertical to help you get out of the blocks. They'll do that kind of stuff for you directly as well. So again, work with them directly, work with us directly, but don't be afraid to ask for that additional love, and you'll get it. Simple as that. But don't be surprised if you've been spending, not a lot of money. You never made scale. You put us through a lot of gears. We give you all this information. You never go live. Eventually, those emails don't get answered as quickly, just like anything.
Yep, totally.
Awesome.
And one thing I recommend to anybody watching this is, the best way to the best way to work with any ad network, period, is, people, everybody out there, as an affiliate, as an advertiser, I know a lot of you own your own businesses too. Everyone out there that is looking to work with the, ad networks, I'd say 98% of the people are going to ad networks saying, hey, what's the minimum deposit, and how do I spend the cheapest amount of money for traffic, and how do I, they're all asking, how do I get the most amount of service? If you want to fall into the 99% of people, if you want to get treated the same way 99% of people are treated, that's great. But if you guys really want to stand out, the way to go about things is is put as much money as you can afford down with these ad networks. They'll give you back your money or some of them will, I think. But the point is, put as much money down as possible. Deposit a ton. Don't play the whole game where you're going to say, oh, I'll put down $200 and I'll put down another $10,000 if I do well. No, put it all down at once and ask, and say, hey, look, I'm willing to pay high CPCs, and but putting down a lot of money shows you're serious, and you'll get much better service working with these companies. And that's something I've done, but is that somewhat true?
It's 100% accurate. It's 100% accurate, and it's not because we don't want to treat everybody as equals, but there have been countless times where it's business, and there's countless times where a guy will say, I can spend 10 grand a day if you get me optimized, but his deposit's $150.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
And also, let's not forget, it's not everybody that's taking care of these emails or these Skype chats or these Slack messages or intercomming in between you with the platform. Not every single one of them is an executive level person with a high salary.
Yeah.
Some of these are account managers that are on, low salaries and high commissions, and they get paid a function of what spend they're able to create. So if you're not going to be that guy that can help them pay their rent, they're going to give you as much service as they can afford to.
Yeah.
So depositing, as you said, is not a dangerous thing. Every company I've mentioned today is ethical, and they will refund your money if you can't spend it or don't wish to spend it. So if you can afford to put a couple grand in or 5 grand in or 10 grand in, this is going to separate you from the other 98% of the mosquitoes out there that really just,
that's exactly.
They suck the life out of you with constant questions, and then they never do anything, and it jades you for the next one. But when a guy comes along like yourself, John, and puts down a heavy stack, immediately it's like, okay, how can we help this guy out?
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
Exactly. And that's, and as again, to everyone watching this, my advice is don't be a mosquito. Make sure to separate yourself in some way. If you can separate yourself, it's important business practice. And even if separating yourself is something little, let's say you can't put down a heavy stack, be nice, be friendly, be respectful. If you don't just message people being mean, I'm a big fan of sending people gifts, or gift baskets or whatnot. But, to everyone out there, don't, make sure to separate yourself in some way. I think that's a really important thing. Don't be a mosquito. So yeah, sorry, I just wanted to go on a little diatribe there.
No, I love it, and if I could just add one last thing is, not everybody can afford to put down a heavy stack. 100% accurate, and you can still separate yourself, and things that you can do to separate yourself that don't cost money are definitely being nice, doing what you say you're going to do. If you say you're going to deploy a pixel that day and we come into work the next day and you didn't get to it, it just makes us think that you're one of those people who doesn't execute on your word, which that's all we really have. And if you have a good experience, if someone puts in effort to write you a really concerted email response or digs up a bunch of knowledge base links and sends them to you to save you that research, does it really hurt you to go on the company's Facebook page and say, hey, just want to say thank you to Martin, or I just want to say thank you to Jesse or James or whoever it is that helped you out that day? Those little bumps just really make a huge impact on the relationship building. So those don't cost any money. If you can't afford to deposit thick, do the little things like execute on your word and give love where it's due.
Cool.
Awesome. In RevContent, these are three content categories you should block. It doesn't matter what you're buying for. Social and trending, both below the article and the right rail, and humor. I've just never seen a campaign be successful regardless of what its goal is. So if you've had different results, love to hear about that. But if you haven't tried it yet, this is our recommendation to get out of the blocks. And again, it's one of those things we will do for you on our end.
Cool.
Geo strategy. If your offer supports it, meaning if you can buy traffic and convert outside of the USA for your offer, don't ever start with USA. USA traffic is more expensive and more competitive. So if you're able to, with your offer, target Canada, target Australia, target the United Kingdom, target the other English tier ones, get that sucker converting in those regions, and then don't add USA to that campaign. Think of it as a campaign as a delicate flower. If you touch it while it's trying to grow, you can send things off kilter. In this case, use the cloning system. RevContent offers it, we offer it, and clone it and add a separate campaign, all dialed in with the same settings, and just add USA as a single target. That way you're running one for all of the non-USA English tier ones and one for USA only. If your offer doesn't support targeting outside the USA, obviously this is irrelevant, but maybe it's time to look for an offer that you're able to use this strategy with. You'll spend less money, you'll have a shorter learn phase, and then you'll be able to get a running start when you're ready to go to USA and make the big bucks.
Okay, cool. And would you separate out different campaigns for the different countries? What do you recommend?
I think you can bundle these three here.
Yeah.
Australia, Canadians, and UK. I mean, we might talk differently. I'm a Canadian. Yeah, you can tell. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law are both from Australia, and I've got a sales team in the United Kingdom.
Oh, wow.
And all of us talk very differently, but our purchasing habits are similar. We're similar in the way that we regard stuff. Yeah, you might want to localize your lander to have different language in the key phrases, which you can do with your IP detection. But as far as the types of headlines and the imagery that's going to get the clicks, you can bundle it all together. If you're not sure and you're not someone who's worldly, just target Canada, man. We're not that much different than you. Yeah, we might not have a guy like Trump ever be our president, but we're not that much different from you. It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
I hear everybody loves Kevin Trudeau, right?
Oh, that guy. You mean Justin Trudeau?
Oh, isn't he the prime minister or something?
Yeah, Justin. Yeah.
My wife thinks he's quote unquote hot.
Yeah. No, he's definitely popular with the ladies.
Oh my God. I was like, what?
So if you can, target Canada and then clone it and run USA. If not, then this is just something to keep in mind for when you do have an offer that's able to go international. This is important. So RevContent also pays their publishers on a CPM. If you've ever worked with them as a publisher, you know that. And they've got great rates.
And by the way, for everyone watching, a publisher means a website owner who has RevContent ads on their site. Sorry, I just want to clarify.
Yeah, no, that's my mistake to not clarify. So yeah, on the other side of the game, our brothers in the internet are the people that have the traffic, the people that are putting these recommended stories at the bottom of their articles. And if they're not around, we're not around. So we have to make sure they're getting paid. So if the CTR is not strong on a few of the categories, but it is strong on one of the categories, let's say you're targeting 5 categories and you're crushing it on one and you're not doing so well on 3 and one of them's average, the whole campaign is going to die because the CTR of that ad group is going to be too low to guarantee publishers a decent payout. It's not going to be smart enough to block one category on its own. So what's important is if you can afford to, you create multiple campaigns and target those 5 categories in independent campaigns, one for finance, one for sports, and whatever the case may be. Then that's expensive because you've got a minimum daily budget for each one. With me, it's $50 a day. For a CPA campaign with RevContent, it's going to be $100. So let me just take you through this story. Monday, you start out, you run 5 campaigns, 1 category per day. By Thursday, you should be able to kill all 5 of those campaigns or all of them that are not performing and consolidate the ones that did. There should be 2 out of those 5 minimum that did all right.
Yep.
And with those 2 categories, consolidate them into one campaign, and now you don't have to spend so much daily if you can't afford it. If you can't afford it, then you just basically consolidate the budget into that campaign, and it's less to manage, more success to you.
So one thing that a lot of the conversation is about really algos, and algos is algorithms obviously, but in any business, obviously you're working with you're trying to figure out a specific way to make things work, and obviously with working with native ad networks such as yourself, we have to figure out kind of what's the best way to segment our ads within your system. Now, how often can we expect these rules to completely flip? Obviously, RevContent, for instance, it sounds like they have a shitty algorithm that's dumb, not very smart, and as an affiliate, we have to change a lot, to really work with, or we have to do a lot of custom work that we wouldn't normally need to do, which is good for some, bad for others. Stuff like Outbrain traffic that we can buy through your platform, they're just like, they expect us to be smarter affiliates because they expect all of the information to be correct on our page. They expect us to be a much higher quality affiliate, and they do all the work for it. So that's an interesting thing. But how often do these algorithms or stuff, generally in your experience, do they get updated?
Well, fortunately for me, I come from a software background, and typically there's what you call developer sprints or iterations.
Yeah.
And they're usually every 2 weeks they release a piece of software. Now, we never see the difference because it's not always a massive update that's visible in the user interface. It could be a small tweak to the algo. It could be a small tweak to a specific function in the back end, compressing data, broad matching, exact matching, all this kind of stuff. We have been able to kind of get our finger on the pulse. And I can't say that it's every 6 weeks or it's every 8 weeks, but there's constantly a developer group in an office being paid a lot of money to improve things. And when you notice a change in trend that is not seasonal, so it's not like it's July versus February, we're talking like everything that was working in March is not working in April, or everything that wasn't working in April, all of a sudden I'm getting traffic in May. It's those little cues that you'll pick up on, almost like a sixth sense. I have the fortunate privilege of just being able to email the developers and say, hey, have you guys updated anything? Mm-hmm. So we don't necessarily have a schedule that's being shared with us, but when we notice an anomaly, always managing by exception, looking for anomalies, that's our cue to basically check in and say, was there any update to the way that you're managing, discontinuing traffic to campaigns? Is the sweet spot on the CTR still kind of like that 0.7, and if it's less, it's going to get throttled. If it's more, it's going to scale up. At what point do you stop rotating the round robin? In some cases, it's 150,000 impressions. In other cases, it's 500,000 impressions because the guy has a bigger budget. Mm-hmm. So we're always looking for those little anomalies. We kind of have a little internal playbook. And once we notice that there has been a change made and it's confirmed by our partner, that's when we just start to tweak things on our end. Our goal is not to give the heavy lifting to our clients. Our goal is to try and give you a consistent experience and make the tweaks in the back end so that these things don't impact you. Obviously, that's not always the case. There's going to be things that we have to educate, and then it's simple. We do a webinar like this, or we send an email out, or on the next phone call, we'll say, hey, John, I don't think you need to do a campaign per category anymore. Let's get them all in one, and then once we figure out what ads are performing, we'll kill that first campaign, start a new campaign only with the ads that performed, and that'll be the one we scale.
That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah. Great question, man. So we're nearing the end here. One of the things that you had requested in our email back and forth was if I had any intel on top verticals, ad units, countries, opportunities. I sent out a RFI to all of the partners just saying, hey, can I get a refresh of all the information? And unfortunately, not all of them were able to compile stuff that I feel is meaningful to share. So I'm probably going to give you another update once this recording is out. But I'm going to share with you some information. So specific to my publisher base, we're still seeing a lot of traffic coming through entertainment and celebrity gossip sites. Not a surprise, viral as well. Sports is coming through in high scale. And then over with Outbrain, we're seeing tons of traffic within finance. And she's noted here specifically that if you have a B2B offer, a retail offer, a financial product of any kind, or a pharma product, they're able to get a lot of traffic to those because the metadata is matching up with tons of articles on the news sites. Talking about ad units, content recommendation is always going to be king. It's kind of like the 300.
Well, actually, I meant when I said top verticals, I meant top verticals like that affiliates are, or what are the best products? Is it like lead gen, like mortgage, finance, financial newsletters, e-commerce,
oh, absolutely,
supplement, etc.
We are seeing so far, if we can define success as consistent ROI and consistent spend, we are seeing the campaigns with the most longevity are if you can get a decent financial product, so some form of credit card offering. The payday loans are doing well. The reverse mortgages and mortgage refinancing is doing well. Those are kind of evergreen campaigns, and there's a lot of people that are scared about what will be happening with the election. So this is your chance to refinance, your mortgage at better rates and all that kind of stuff. That fear-based sell is not going away anytime soon. It's been doing very well for people. And any product that you can put the middle level at, as far as it could be a novelty product, it could be a health product, but any product that can be purchased for between $200 and $300 tends to do really well across all the networks we're working with. So obviously the Nighthawk flashlight was killing it for a while there. Why? Because people were being encouraged to buy 3 or 5 of them, and that felt like there was a perceived value in that sale. Now that that's kind of done, there's a new product coming out, like a headlamp, and these things, like you laugh at them because you probably would never buy one and you would never need one, but there's a lot of people out there that are surfing around and they're fine to part with $200 to $300 on their credit card. Obviously you can retarget them for further offers after the fact, but that right now is kind of the evergreen stuff. If you have a nutrition product, what I've found is that it will do well for a week to 2 weeks, and then for whatever reasons, the networks start to deprioritize it. There's just kind of like this negative stigma attached with all of these products. You can make a shit ton of money on them, but you're going to find yourself consistently needing to change domains and kind of reinvent the offer so that it's not regarded as the same guy coming back in the network promoting the same thing if they've determined that it's a lower quality product. But if the labeling of the product is good, if you're not trying to attach it to fake endorsements, if you're not putting fake Facebook comments with the like button that doesn't like when you click it at the bottom of the page, all those little tricks that you think that are going to work are really just going to get you in a situation where we put your URL on a blacklist because now we're scared that you're going to do something fraudulent and you're going to have a hard time. In some cases, we can even find your hosting server IP, and any domain on that IP is not going to get through anymore. So be conscious of that type of shit.
Yeah, totally. And I one thing I would recommend everybody do before working with any ad network is make sure you guys read obviously the advertising policies, the terms and conditions of anything you're doing. Just it's basic knowledge, and if you want to understand, some ad networks don't allow before and after pictures, some do, and understanding how to best work with any company that you're working with is ridiculously important. So just life is easier when you do that.
Absolutely. And I'll actually jump a little bit more into that in just one sec, but I just want to give everybody a quick summary of reach here. Pardon me. So this is fresh data. I just got sent to me here. Thank goodness the account manager came through for me. So I am seeing, pardon me. I've got our top geos right now are North America, so USA and Canada. When I say North America, the UK, France, India, and Brazil are top traffic, and I'll give you the percentage of the populations we're currently reaching. So in the USA, we are reaching just under 53% of the population.
Wow.
In Canada, 64.4%. Brazil, 54%. Mexico, 42.1%. In the UK, we're crushing it, 85.4% of the entire population. France, 57%. Germany, 52.5%. Spain, 55%. Italy, 57%. And then in the APAC, Israel, 80%. Japan, 44.3% on mobile, 47% on desktop, so that's an anomaly. Singapore, 72.6%. Singapore is a hidden gem, man. A lot of people speak English there and have money.
Singapore, UAE, Singapore and United Arab Emirates are both super hidden gems. Yeah,
absolutely, man. If you've ever promoted binary options, you know that can crush it, though. Absolutely. Not that I know anything about that. Shouts out to the guys at Option Rally and Any Option. Those are great guys.
Option Rally actually just they shut down.
Are you kidding me? Holy shit.
2 weeks ago.
Shit. I have to call up Aladdin, find out what happened.
Yeah.
In Australia, 79.3%, and in the Philippines, 32.1%. So that's the information I have right now. I'm going to get a little bit more, and as said earlier, I owe you guys a metadata table, so any information that can be more complete, I'll just throw it into a one-page or Dropbox it, throw the link in the comments, and make sure that you guys have what you need. And getting back to what John made a really good point on is understand compliance and just play well with the networks. Figure out a way to be compliant in what you're doing, and be transparent about it. I mean, there is nothing wrong with saying, hey, is this lander cool? Especially with us. And I want to take 1 minute on this, a solid 60 seconds, to explain to you how we would really prefer to work with all of you. Be real. Don't cloak your shit. Send me your real lander. Send me the lander that is crushing it for you, and we will find the traffic that will work with that lander and will still convert. If your lander is going to work for the premium networks, then we're going to put you live on them right off the bat. If we're unsure and we don't really know who you are, we're going to throw you live on our own publishers. And with our publishers, we take anything that's not adult, not illegal, and doesn't promote some type of crappy download unless it's a clean download going right to the App Store. So we're pretty much letting through just about anything as long as it's not any of those items I just mentioned. If we see that you're doing a good job to keep it legit with us, we'll upgrade you to the premium networks. But that wastes 3 to 4 days of your time. So why not just be real with me? Send me your URL ahead of time and say, do I need to make any changes to be upgraded to premium? And then we can put you premium from the jump, just like we did with yourself, John.
Yeah.
And then if there's a situation where we're looking at you and we've seen some redirects and some nasty scripts in there that make us uncomfortable, we'll still try to find you traffic, but we're going to bring you down the totem pole into the sources that are along the lines of, like, we'll take anything as long as it's legal. There's some really lenient sources out there that don't really care about what it is that you're promoting.
MGID. Stuff like
maybe. You've been in the game, you get it. So without naming names, and thank you, John, for adding some color, I've got 3 tiers of traffic that I will pair you up with. It is my absolute goal to get you the best stuff I can afford to get you, but I also like my 2 young boys, and I don't want to go to jail. So if I'm not sure about what you're doing, I'm going to have to kick your ass out. If I don't know you very well, I'm going to start you in the middle, and I'm going to ask my account managers to take a look at you 96 hours from now. If you think you're sharp and you're cloaking, just know I've got servers in Hickville, like we're talking towns with 80 people in them, and we're going to check out your lander from those places. So just be smart about it, guys.
Yeah, I love, one thing I'm very big on talking to people out is, have also, one reason I love working with you guys is that ability to have an open dialogue about what's going on and, where can I run this, etc. It's fantastic. So, dude, awesome stuff, man. Thank you so much, guys. Oh, well, guys, send him a message on Twitter or something, but I hope you guys got a ton of value from this webinar. Just write something in the comments about your thoughts on this. Make sure to, guys, go to NativeAds.com. Show that shirt again.
You can see
NativeAds.com. And guys, put down $1,000, $2,000 as a deposit. And let them know, that you guys came from, you saw the webinar or whatever. And, but yeah, I definitely recommend you guys work with these guys. I've been buying a lot of traffic through them, really professional. And you guys have been expanding a lot of ad networks too. I had no idea how many new sources were available. So I think that's awesome. You guys are continuing to innovate. I look forward to. I'm going to make these slides available to everyone. Is that all right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Please do so. And tell me a word you want me to use for the promo code, and I'll figure out the best offer we can put together for you guys.
Let's do. Just say, let's do it.
Let's do it. It is. So let's do it. No apostrophe. We're going to put that in the comment box. I'll give you all the details of what the promo will have once John tells me the recording is up. And we're going to take
let's do it is good. That's good.
Okay. Let's do it. It is, my man. John, it's an honor to get a chance to collaborate with you.
Awesome.
I'm looking forward to doing this again. And thank you so much for having me, my friend.
Cool, man. Love it. Thanks again, and have a good